Well, it's that day to go ahead and fix our pump issue, hopefully. We have all of our parts right over here. And not gonna go on a long rant about John Deere, but so if you don't know, AGCO actually owns Allis Chalmers and carried the brand for a little while. Once Allis Chalmers, it was AGCO Allis for a while, then they went to just AGCO in general. Well, look right there, made in the United States. Every one of these parts, even those gaskets, these gaskets right here, everything, O-rings, all of it was made in the United States. And I'm not saying that John Deere doesn't make good equipment. I'm not going to argue that. What I am saying is that John Deere does not care about the American farmer anymore. And they haven't for a while. They haven't made stuff. They've made large tractors. They're large, you know, big series tractors, absolutely. They do make those still here in the United States. And they make a few things still in the United States, but majority of their tractors are not made here anymore. They're made in Germany, all over the place. So take it what you want. Anyways, we're moving on. Got my pump, well, I've got the main lines off of it already. I got to get a couple more lines off and then I'll bring you guys back. So there's one right there at the top I need to take out, and then there's 4 bolts around this cover. What we're trying to replace is there's a spring inside of this pump. This is a 3-stage pump, and one stage actually takes care of your hydraulic needs, so the remotes, the 3-point, etc. And then another one takes care of the brakes and the transmission, or might be the transmission by itself, and then the brakes and the steering are on the same one. Either way, there's 3 stages of the pump. One of them runs hydraulics, and there's a spring in there that bumps the pressure up from the standby pressure of 600 psi, which is what mine is, and it'll bump it up to 2300 psi. Well, it's not working like it should, so pretty sure with the advice of a good knowledgeable viewer, he helped me troubleshoot and has pointed me towards the spring. He said, yeah, they do break. He's had it happen before, so hopefully that's what our issue is. If not, we're taking the pump apart for fun.
What they're calling what do they call that thing?
I don't see any snap rings.
What's that?
I don't see any snap rings.
Okay, but you see the snap ring in the front, meaning
on the
shaft end?
Yeah, on the 2-ear side.
Yeah.
Yep, I see that snap ring.
Go ahead and take that snap ring out.
Okay.
Right behind it's a seal, so that's what concerns me. That seal, it in theory doesn't really hold that much oil and definitely shouldn't really hold any pressure back, but we don't want to damage it.
Snap ring is off.
Now can the shaft come forward towards the 2-liter side?
No.
Now can it go back the other way? Well, it's an internal snap ring. It wasn't holding the shaft.
No.
If you were, let me check something else. Those are 1.8". If you were to gently tap on the open end of the shaft, pushing it again towards the 2-liter side.
All right, so we got the shaft out. We got the snap ring off. I got the snap ring off of one side. Now, once I get that snap ring off of that side, do I need to take the other snap ring off first, or should I focus on what's inside of here?
Say again?
I've got the other snap ring off.
Which other one?
Well, one of the two sides.
Yeah, you gotta take them both off. Can't do it just with one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So go ahead and take the other one out before I bother with trying to take the innards out?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that one's out.
There's an inner race that you can get your pick behind. That'll help you get that out.
I didn't grab the inner race, I grabbed the outer. But either way,
Okay.
it came out.
You grab the needle bearing, which was against the housing, right?
Yep.
And then there's an inner race that rode inside the needle bearing on the shaft. That should also be loose, and you should be able to pull it off by getting the pick up against the cam on the inside and kind of finding that little groove.
Yep. The harder part now is that it's in a bind because the other side's out.
Yeah, you're going to have to kind of put your hand on one side with a finger in there to kind of bring it up to level or up to true.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the other one in there just a little bit.
That works too. See, I knew you were smarter than the average toenail.
Alright, so now that one's out. Alright. It looks like these don't matter which way they go. However,
No, they
the
don't.
side facing up is what was in. Or sorry, what was trying to anyway.
Did you put the shaft back in, or are you talking about the
No,
caps?
On the caps.
The best way to do that is to use a seat clamp and just put a very light amount of pressure on the caps to compress the O-ring behind it. Assuming you put the new O-rings in there, right?
Is there a wrong way?
What do you mean?
The O-rings.
No, as long as they were in the way you took the old ones out.
Yeah, I mean it's setting on the outer ring.
Well, the O-ring should not be in the groove.
No, the O-ring's not.
Yeah.
The snap ring is.
So the O-rings are just newer and they're thicker. They haven't compressed for 50 years, 40 years.
Get that other side on, I guess. We'll go from there. There's that one. That one.
So, dumb question. The little cap, did it have a domed center? Or are yours flat?
They're flat.
Okay, that's fine. The old style were dome center. That's all I asked.
Oh. I even used my dental pick to clean out the groove. But that snap ring will go in, but...
No, I'm certain that the reason they're not going in is the O-ring just needs compressed. And it takes just a little bit of pressure pushing in on the cap to then get your O-ring to go and seat into its groove.
Oops. Alright, so I don't think I explained this earlier. However, there's a swash plate in here that this spring provides pressure against. Well, that spring is weaker than the new spring, which is expected. You know, it's old, potentially 40 years old. We tested it by putting 10 pounds on top of it and measuring from the bottom of the weight to the surface that it was setting on. And then we did the same thing with the new one. There was an 1/8 inch difference between the 10-pound weight on the old spring compared to the new spring. The new spring was basically stronger and stiffer. We're hoping that that is the issue, because that spring got weak. It couldn't kick the pressure up like it should. That spring sees somewhere around 300 to 600 pounds of pressure. Basically, it sees the opposite of what the your standby pressure is. Right, Anthony?
More or less correct.
More or less correct. Well, if at 10 pounds of pressure there's an 1/8 inch difference, that means I'm sure there's a substantial difference when you multiply it. So in this case, if we go to 600 pounds of pressure, which is pretty close to what my standby pressure is, so now you've got 60 times that difference. So an 1/8 inch times 60 is going to be a large gap. That's what we're hoping is the issue. However, I do have some scarring on my pistons on this cassette. Cassette's what it, is that the technical term for it?
Pump block, or I call it a cassette, either way.
We'll call it cassette because it's simple. So you can see on here there's some that have scars on them, and right there, and probably right there. Those are likely the two worst ones. Well, those ride against the swash plate that spring supports. And if it doesn't make a good enough contact, a smooth enough contact, it cannot produce the pressure that it needs. Essentially, it'll cause leaks and won't compress and make the pressure that I actually need or the tractor is requesting. So if the spring doesn't fix it, we do know that that is most likely where our issue is at. There's definitely some scarring there. Tractor's 40 years old, 41 years old, so kind of hard to be upset about it. Let me get this thing put back together now. All right, I think I'm ready to put it back together.
So that gasket obviously can only go on the big steel gasket.
Yep.
Can only go on the pump one way, of course.
No, I can do it upside down.
No, I'm sure you can.
Well, on a serious note, does the groove face in or out? Does it matter? I would say it face out so that you're compressing it.
I honestly don't think it can be reversed because of the position of the...
Oh, you know what? No, you're right.
Dowel.
Yeah, the dowels are going to make it, yeah. Just kidding, Anthony. See, I'm just testing you. Make sure you're paying attention. Now there should be enough oil on this that it'll cover that plate.
Yep. You don't need much, just a little.
No, it's getting a lot. There we go. Obviously, gotta make sure the splines line up.
Nah, just get a sledgehammer and drive it on.
just make it happen.
Exactly.
Well, I made a mess. Don't worry, at the end of it, I'm gonna yell, Nick, come clean up the shop. So now that I got that back in, actually I could set this on a couple of boards. Probably make my life a little easier. Okay. I do appreciate you helping me out with this.
Hey, no problem.
I'll be honest, if it wasn't for you, I would have taken it in.
Taking it in?
Hell yeah.
Pump off and take it to somebody?
Huh?
You mean take the pump off and take it to somebody?
If that was the option, yes. If they needed the whole tractor, I brought the whole tractor.
Well, you would to be facing big dollars, I think.
Probably. But the thing is, I just don't know enough about them.
No, I understand. I get it. There are certain things I don't know a lot about.
Like automatic transmissions, this guy does not take them apart. I'll take them out. I'll put a new one in.
I'll take them apart if I don't plan to reuse them.
Well, I guess I'd probably do it then, I guess. But
No,
that's a valid point.
I don't have any heartburn over automatic transmissions, but I don't have the special tooling, and every model takes a ton of extra special tooling.
It's not even that. So like my Duramax, Ethan charged me $500 basically, because the parts were $4,000. So he charged me $500 for him to take it apart, take the transmission out, clean the casing up, take all the old parts out, put the new parts in, fill it back up with transmission fluid, and put it back in the truck.
Yeah, see, exactly. I mean, there's probably $3,000 worth of tools, special tools, just to work on that transmission. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, for me, it don't make any sense because I'm too worried to screw up the parts. $4,000 in parts is a lot of money.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I get it. Now, the old band transmissions, the old turbo hydromatics, the old R4, 700 R4s that had bands inside of them, yeah, you could easily screw those up. The new ones aren't so bad. I mean, the power shift that you've got in your tractor, I've had apart and completely rebuilt on 2 different tractors twice. I mean, it's not... The newer transmissions are way better because they don't use a lot of that old band technology.
Yeah. I always wondered how a power shift is essentially it's a manual valve body automatic, isn't it? Well, a manual valve body automatic.
Kind of. So inside your power shift transmission, there are 3.
I'm gonna blow this out because there's a little bit of debris in there that I don't like. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Except for I just dropped that damn thing again.
Maybe I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Somebody should be.
So before you put that together, you don't have any other parts laying around except the old spring, right?
And some O-rings.
Okay.
And some old gasket.
Sweet.
Got the new gasket over there. Yeah. Yep, just old parts, it looks like.
Cool.
Hey, you got me second guessing myself now.
That's all right. I second guess myself all the time. Deal with it.
Just thought I'd share this. So if you're filling up something and you're gonna put a large quantity of oil in, if you do this, set that hose in there to where it won't fall out on you, it'll essentially it'll be a vent tube, and it'll make it to where you can pour and it won't bubble and splash and gargle and all that fun stuff. see what that gauge down there does. That's what I was afraid of. We're still at about 600 pounds of pressure. Sorry, I know that the lens is a little dirty, but I don't have anything to clean it with right now because I'm still dirty. We got everything put back together on the tractor, and it does function just like it did beforehand. The issue is that it is still not bumping pressure up. So there's a port right here, and I'm going to have to get the fittings to adapt this so that I can have a gauge on there. That one will show me my standby pressure, and then also they'll show me whenever I'm bumping pressure up. So that will be the next step, but I'm gonna have to run to town to get that.